Tonight, the Waialae steelworks to undergo a major facelift in a bid to keep it globally competitive, and renewed calls to reopen Broken Hill's borders with South Australia.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. New plans for the $1 billion upgrade of the Waialae steelworks have been announced, set to catapult the regional town into the international spotlight. The major upgrades are set to double the production rate of steel within the city and is tipped to create dozens of jobs.
Cleaner, cheaper and globally competitive. That's the vision industrialist Sanjeev Gupta has for Waialae Steel. GFG Alliance announcing its billion-dollar transformation plan for the city's steelworks, aiming to make that vision into a reality.
With the continued hard work and commitment of all our employees and stakeholders, I remain confident that we will be successful in our mutual goal of creating an exciting and vibrant future.
The upgrade set to breathe new life into the aged facility, transitioning into a carbon-neutral steel producer, using an electric furnace to replace the existing blast furnace.
We need to modernise the steelworks, the electric arc furnace, the expanded mill with a greater product range.
The $600 million steel rolling mill, which would sit alongside the electric furnace, is expected to double the current output of steel production.
The existing Waialae steelmaking operations will continue to operate during the 3-year transition period while the new plant is built.
GFG says it wants to produce clean green steel by the end of the decade, an ambitious target said to employ dozens of workers.
Will provide ongoing jobs, as has already been confirmed by GFG, but also an increase in jobs in the area during that construction phase.
While Sanjeev Gupta has flagged the need for major cost reductions, he says he's committed to not axing a single job. Instead, the company will look at other major savings and improvements over the next 3 months.
It is important that we all embrace change as we drive towards financial viability of our current operations.
As yet, we do not have financial closure, and when we do have financial closure, then the people of Waialae can breathe a big sigh of relief, and because then we will have a very promising future.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The member for Frome is vowing to continue lobbying for a land access inquiry following his defeated bill in State Parliament. It's been voted against by regional MPs who've raised their concerns on the construction of the legislation.
Not taking no for an answer, Jeff Brock's mining land access bill defeated once again.
The government had the numbers there. The bill has been defeated. I accept that. I'm frustrated. It didn't get into the committee level.
The bill calls for an independent review into the land access rights of mining companies and farmers.
Assist regional farm landowners in regional areas to be able to protect themselves from the unscrupulous people coming in.
It's been voted down, but Mr Brock is desperately hoping a select committee will put the bill back onto the table.
What I'm doing now is that I'm asking to try and endeavour to actually get a select committee to do exactly the same as what I want to do, have an investigation to see if the processes are the best for our regional landowners.
The Mining and Energy Minister has released a statement saying landowners have not lost any of their rights and there's steps in place to protect them. Fraser Ellis siding with his party during the vote, but says the conversation is far from over.
Construction of the bill and the lack of wider government support, I decided to vote against the bill during the last sitting week. I will continue to work toward a more palatable solution for more stakeholders.
Jeff Brock vowing to fight for clarity.
They're asking for me to continue with this, and I will continue on their behalf to try and make certain we've got the best processes in place.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
There's renewed calls tonight for Broken Hill to be exempt from South Australia's border restrictions based on its proximity and close ties with the state. Community members are being urged to make their voices heard, while the SA government says it's considering the options.
Only 50 kilometres in from the South Australian border, but that still means we're in New South Wales.
Anybody travelling to Adelaide or South Australia currently, if it's not essential travel, has to go into 2 weeks lockdown.
The city's mayor is calling on the SA Premier to make border towns like Broken Hill exempt from the quarantine, saying a number of factors like education and medical appointments make a strong case. Community members are encouraged to send a message to Adelaide and pen a letter to the Premier.
It's more important that they hear from the community. We'll keep the fight going. We've started this back in March and we'll keep it going. We've had a few wins, but not enough.
Businesses and tourism operators desperate for the borders to reopen.
If we want to go to a major city, the only other options we've got is, Melbourne, which is like 900 kilometres away, or Sydney, which is 1,200 kilometres away. It's a no-brainer that Adelaide's where we need to be going and doing our business.
There is also a push, despite its geographical location, for Broken Hill to work with the SA government in the event of a second wave of COVID-19.
That we have a MOU that will understand what we can and can't do cross-border, and making sure, particularly around health, that there is no waiting time for people to access essential health care.
The SA government says a number of options are under consideration as they look to reopen the state's borders, adding that the government does not want to keep the border restrictions in place longer than needed. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln Cinema finally reopens its doors to the public, offering old-time movies to treat the pandemic blues. And Port Lincoln businesses and homes plunged into darkness with another blackout. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's Silver Screen has reopened for the first time since the pandemic hit, with customers already flooding in. New blockbusters as well as the cult classics are all on the cards, including films which were released during the pandemic.
Working on overdrive, the cinema bursting back into life.
No, this is very exciting. It's been a couple of months there of some quiet times really, so it's been good to get back into the swing of things.
Staff buttering the popcorn and icing the choc tops as Port Lincoln's Heritage Cinema reopens after almost 3 months of being closed.
It's been a pretty tough couple of months, pretty tough slog.
With markings on the floor and roped off areas, staff say they're doing all they can to maintain social distancing. Strict cleaning measures also being followed.
The community's always been really supportive since we opened the doors, and they've been, they're really the drive that keeps us opening the doors and trying to make it work.
Like many businesses, staff were feeling the financial pinch during the closure. To add insult to injury, the cinema wasn't eligible for government support. Instead, financial relief came from the City Council, who waived the cinema's rent for 3 months.
It would have been push and go without their help. It's a fair bit, the rent, just because it's rent, but without that help, that could have put us under. So,
with the doors now open and the lights back on, the cinema is set to screen the cult classics like Grease and the Rocky Horror Show. Staff also offering a gold-class experience like no other, letting groups of up to 20 people book out the entire venue for their own private movie.
Yeah, a few interests online talking to us about it, so it looks promising.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Gym goers in Broken Hill are rejoicing with the local YMCA announcing it's reopening next week. Coronavirus protective measures will be in place, with staff already hard at work to get the gym prepared.
A welcome sight for gym junkies. Staff working hard to get this business up and running.
Monday, June 15, we will open the doors of the Broken Hill Regional Aquatic Centre and the YMCA Wellness Centre for the first time in 10 weeks.
Members excited to be returning to the gym and the pool.
A group of us have been trying to keep our mojo going and catching up in our COVID-safe numbers, but a return to the YMCA will give us some normality again.
But it won't be a normal operation. A number of COVID-19 safety measures will be in place at the facilities. No memberships will be reactivated, with only casual entry into the gym.
They are 45-minute bookings on the hour, every hour, so that allows us to get the patrons out and clean before the next session comes through.
Patrons will also notice markers on the floor for social distancing, certain machines switched off and protective screens. Those heading to workout are also required to bring a towel to help clean equipment.
No towel, no training, and we will also do a cleanse of the floor after every session as well.
100 people are permitted in the venue at one time, 45 of those allowed on the gym floor. But group fitness sessions are reduced to 10.
We've made some adjustments to the timetable to allow for cleaning between classes that are equipment based. Hopefully it's not the new normal for too long, but yeah, we've got to work with what we've got.
At the Aquatic Centre, there will be no swimming lessons at this stage and a maximum of 10 people in each pool.
Please be patient with us. At the end of the day, we are only trying to do the right thing for our staff and for our members to keep, Broken Hill COVID safe.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Dozens of homes and businesses across Port Lincoln's popular foreshore were left in the dark this morning after a power outage. 141 customers were affected just after 6, leaving cafes and gyms unable to open, with the power turning back on 2 hours later. SA Power says it's looking into what caused the outage. The grandmother of a young girl who's become the subject of a saga involving Big W says she's shocked and upset over the whole incident. She's calling for Australians to put racism on the shelf.
We should learn we all live in this country, we all call this country home, and we all should learn to live and put racism aside. That's one thing that needs to be eradicated in our communities is racism.
Big W has previously said it apologises for any upset or pain it could have caused the family. Stay with us after the break. Raising money for mental health. A Port Augusta man gets serious about his push-ups and the day we've all been waiting for this weekend to celebrate all that's good about gin. Hello again. A Port Augusta business owner has completed thousands of push-ups as part of a national challenge to raise money and awareness for mental health. And in another act of generosity, he's pledging to double the amount of donations he's received.
For 3 weeks, every single day after work, Kieran got his hands dirty and worked up a sweat.
It felt really good. So the last day now I'm a bit missing doing the push-ups, but so I was proud to finish it all and to help Headspace and with the awareness of suicide prevention.
A daunting task, but he got through it. Kieran completed 3,046 push-ups. That number represents the number of lives lost to mental health and suicide in 2018. The motive, to raise money for Headspace clinics nationwide.
Centres across Australia have been involved this year and a phenomenal amount of money. I think the last thing I saw was around $5 million across the country, which is fantastic.
Kieran raised $300 and he's pledged even more.
We'll be doubling whatever we have raised from our customers' donation, and that's due to a suicide loss dear to us in the region, which we become aware of.
The challenge, while aiming to support the organisation's work, also helping those taking on the challenge.
I'm so busy at the moment, and it helped my mental health greatly by just taking a load off of work and getting into the push-ups and knowing that it was for a good cause.
The Wharfland Cafe, a prime destination for people to spark up a chat while social distancing outdoors.
I think that the bigger thing is that's connection and community, where people are pulling up, starting those conversations, asking questions, and then hopefully they go home and think about where they're at and their friends.
If you or someone you know is struggling, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
What a wonderful effort. For the first time in the history of Port Augusta netball, the season has had to be cancelled. Registrations and grading had already been finalised when the association last week announced it wasn't viable to run a season with the current COVID-19 restrictions. It says it received an overwhelming response from clubs not wanting to participate.
It is just about doing it safely and making sure our volunteers' welfare are in mind and our players' welfare. All of those things, have just become paramount with all the planning that we're doing.
Clubs are still looking to see if moderated trainings are able to be run in preparation for the 2021 season. International Gin Day is kicking off this Saturday and spirit lovers across the regions are gearing up to taste their favourite drop. A Waialae distillery has created a spicy gin, packing a punch for the occasion.
Let the gin begin, a new addition taking the Yorke Peninsula by storm, these free-spirited customers eager to give the new drop a taste.
Similar to, has a whiskey overtone, so it's completely different to pretty much anything that's in the market at the moment.
It's inspired by a Waialae newspaper article, now 150 years old.
Back in 1866, we found an advertisement for the Bond store and they were selling 50 cases of a Genevieve. Go back to the roots, 150-year-old gin, what they would have been selling here on the streets, people would have been drinking.
Freezing cold nights are here and staff say it's the perfect drink to keep warm.
Perfect for winter, nice and warming, something that you could pop into a shot of coffee to really start the day right, or whether you can just sit there drinking it straight on a bit of ice.
The launch coincides with International Gin Day, the drink to be celebrated worldwide.
Sneaky little taste last night for some customers. They were really excited, thought it was amazing. So really something that's special.
For Yorke Peninsula's first combined gin distillery and microbrewery, it's been a rough start with COVID-19 restrictions. Staff are thrilled to reopen their doors.
For sure, we weren't open for overly long before coronavirus, so yeah, it's good. Absolutely stoked.
Owners are thankful for community support, which helped keep them afloat during these trying times.
People have been ringing up saying, can we buy a bottle of gin? You know, we just really want to support you while you're closed so that you can open back up on the other side. And that's been really touching.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll take a look at the region's finance and we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again, taking a look at the day's finance now. CSL rose by 2.5%. Adelaide Brighton also had a similar increase. Centrex jumped 3%, while Oz Minerals also ended the day slightly up. Regional Express, however, dropped 4%, while Bendigo Bank was also down. And the ASX 200 and All Ordinaries were quiet, both rising by around 0.1%. Now for a look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt.
Thank you, Louise, and good evening. We had a chilly start to the day with temperatures dropping below zero across many parts of the region this morning. Snowtown was the coldest, dipping to minus 3.4 degrees just after 7 a.m. Now, from the low to the high, Port Augusta recorded a top of 18 degrees today. Broken Hill and Woodna both 17. 16 was the top temp at Port Pirie, Kadina and Cleve. Port Lincoln reached 15 today. Waialae 14, Adelaide the same. Clare a top of 13. Skies remained clear over the Gulf under a broad ridge of high pressure and dry air mass. And with no cloud cover again tonight, we've got another fairly cold one ahead, but not quite as chilly as this morning, which does bring us to tomorrow. Variable winds about the Gulf waters below 10 knots, seas under half a metre with south to southwesterly swells. A mostly sunny day for Port Lincoln, 16 the high there. Cleve sunny and 17. Woodna mostly sunny tomorrow as well, expected to reach a top of 19 degrees. Morning frost about Waialae with an overnight low of 3, warming up through the day to a sunny 17. Port Augusta and Kadina both dropping to 2 degrees overnight before reaching tops of 18 tomorrow. Port Pirie also 18, looking sunny, a low of -1 at Clare, reaching 15 through the day. Broken Hill sunny and 17. Looking ahead to the end of the week now with partly cloudy conditions across the board on Friday. 22 the high for Woodna, Port Augusta 21, Waialae and Port Pirie 20, Broken Hill, Kadina and Port Lincoln all 19. Saturday, showers expected about the Spencer Gulf, Port Augusta, Woodna, Waialae and Kadina all with tops of 18 degrees, Port Pirie and Port Lincoln both 17, Broken Hill remaining dry, partly cloudy with a high of 20 degrees. And finally to Sunday, showers about the lower Eyre Peninsula, but mostly fine conditions expected elsewhere. Port Augusta, Woodna and Waialae all 18, Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Kadina 17, Broken Hill sunny and 16. So Louise, another cold night ahead. Let this serve as your reminder to turn on your electric blanket or fill up your hot water bottle.
Good to know. Thank you for that, Britt. And we will leave you tonight with a look at a very special escort that Calypso Star Charters had on the way back from a shark dive off the coast of Port Lincoln earlier this week. We'll see you later with updates. Good night.